Welcome to the Daily MBA, where business wisdom is served fresh and fast, straight from one of the top MBA programs in the world. I'll give you summaries of my lectures and readings, as well as the most important insights gained from an MBA, so you can apply all of this knowledge in every business. Let's get started. On today's episode, I'm going to talk about how to analyze any industry that you want to analyze from a strategic perspective. And for this, I'm going to use two models, and one of them you've probably heard about before, and it's Michael Porter 5 Forces model. So this model is a very interesting one, and I'm sure you've probably read about it because it's one of the most famous ones for doing industry analysis. And basically what this model does is look for every possible side of the market. So what you're going to look is first, on your little circle, what are the competitors and rivals that are around you? You're also going to look at the existing substitutes or potential substitutes, or at the potential entrants that are going to enter. And then vertically, let's say you're also going to look at how the buyers are behaving and how the suppliers are behaving. So this is going to analyze a total of 5 things: buyers, suppliers, existing rivals, substitutes, and potential entrants. And so all of this are going to be crucial for determining the strengths of the market and where do you see people having more power of influence. So if buyers are very powerful, if suppliers are very powerful, all of this is going to be very important. So let's go step by step. First, for buyers, it's very important that you analyze how much influence do customers have on prices, because this is going to be a key aspect on pricing and ultimately to your profitability. Second, for suppliers, you're going to study the power that they have to drive up prices or to reduce the quality of whatever it is that they're supplying. Because again, this was also ultimately lead to your profitability and to how much you can charge or how much quality you can receive from whatever it is that those suppliers are giving you. Third, we would have the existing rivals. In this, you have to analyze how intense is the competition in the industry. And then fourth, you would have the substitutes, and this is going to refer to the availability of products that can potentially replace your offering. And why should you study this? Because basically those substitutes may be a form of disruption. And if you missed my episode on disruption, I would highly recommend for you to listen to it so you're better aligned on what I'm saying. But substitutes may be a potential source of problems, so you always have to keep analyzing those. The last fifth thing that you have to analyze are potential entrants. And so here you have to look at how easy it is for new competitors to enter the market or if they're facing any barriers. So now that you have all of these 5 forces, this is usually what Michael Porter would suggest. But then what I learned in my strategy class is to go a little bit beyond that and to think which are going to drive competition for you and which of these 5 actors are going to drive competition against you. And I want you to think about it, and maybe you can tell me in the comments if you understand how these two work, but if you already have the concepts clear in your head, competition for you or competition against you, it should be very clear. So here you can start analyzing how you're going to be able to be more profitable either by decreasing competition against you or increasing competition for you. So make sure you're understanding which players are going to help you do all of that. So how should we use the model of 5 forces? Because one thing is having a model, but then the other thing would be implementing that model. And for this, you're going to start looking at all of the strategies that are going on in the industry right now, and you should argue if they're useful in that specific industry, considering all of the existing features that you can analyze from these 5 forces. So first, I would generalize that you have to look at the industry and create an analysis about this specific industry. Then you should look at the players. So identify all of the players in the model and look who are the successful players and who are the failing players. Look at what they're doing and look at their strategies within that industry. Third, look at competition and describe the forces of competition. So what I was just telling you, say which ones are driving competition against and which ones are driving competition for you. And then, after you have all of this, you should be able to clearly state out if the current strategy is useful or not, so you can reflect on the firm's strategies. Lastly, after you already did all of this, you should be able to do suggestions and think of ways to reduce or increase all of these competition forces in your favor. So that's my way of analyzing something. First looking at industry, then looking at players, then looking at the competition, looking at the current state, and lastly doing all of the suggestions. But this is something that I made up, which I believe it's easier to use. So don't take it as a framework. If you think you can use the 5 forces better, then you can build up your own framework. These are going to be my personal 5 steps. Now, what we can also use is complement this 5 forces model with another model that's called the value net. And the value net basically has 4 players. This one was built by other 2 professors that you can check out if you search for the value net model. But this model has buyers, which are those who purchase the firm's products or services, suppliers, which are those that provide the inputs for the firm, competitors that offer similar products and compete with the firm. All of this part is similar to what we saw initially, but they offer a 4th player, which is called complementers. And complementers are going to be firms that provide complementary products or services that will enhance the firm's offerings. So why is this important? I think complementers is something that Michael Porter didn't include. He did include substitutes, but not the forces of having complementers. And complementers would be the opposite. These are firms that are interested in your well-being because the conjunction with other products can also benefit them. So you have to look for these complementers because partnering with them or also maintaining their well-being is going to be crucial for your own company's well-being. Complementers are all of those players whose incentives are going to be aligned with yours. And instead of competing against you, it's in their interest to do all of these things that will help you and will actually increase your added value. So if we had to analyze complementers with our competition models, I would say they reduce your competition against by enhancing all of this competitive position that you may have and making all of your offers more valuable. But they wouldn't really affect competition for, because they are not competing for the same resources or the same customers. Rather, they create a more favorable environment for you to operate in. So definitely something that I would add up, similar to the suppliers in Michael Porter's model. So let me know if these 2 models are useful and if these 2 are the ones that you're using for analyzing your industries. I personally do not use the SWOT, which maybe you've heard. It consists of strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, and it's usually a small table. It's very simple to use, but it's also very vague. It's not telling you a lot about the industry. So I would rather use these 2 models, but I would love to hear from you in the comments which other models do you use and which other frameworks would you recommend me to do more further analysis in any type of industry and determine if the strategies done by some players are more efficient than the ones done by other players. I'll see you next week.